Welcome to RomWills Money Matters. Spend money on your mind. Now, this is very important. This is very important because, we can, even though in my last episode I talked about restaurant prices going out, you still might want that particular burger or steak or something. And of course, you got people spending money on like that fancy car or something like that. And you definitely got to spend it on where you live no matter what. Or got to get those shoes, got to get those expensive shoes. Like y'all really paying attention to what Rom says on my other channel. Get those shoes, those clothes. But I'm going to tell you what. The most important thing is to spend money on your mind. Because if your mind is right, if you're thinking, if you're getting educated on something, or you reading certain books, or you reading books about how to get to a certain level, that can help you a whole lot more than anything else. That can help you long term. Like I had read some books that really got me to this point. Really read some books that got me to this point. And one of the things that people who really make money, they will spend their money on is education. They'll go to a 4-figure seminar. They will go, they will pay the money like it's nothing. And when you talk about those seminars or those business seminars, you will have some serious people in there. They will pay what they have to pay, 4 figures, maybe even 5 figures. Because they realize if they get their mind right, they can always make money. That's why you have some people who can become bankrupt. They can lose their money. In fact, it's been said that the average millionaire will be bankrupt 3 times. And you talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, they've had several businesses. I always joke about my 1,000 jobs. Some of them were businesses, or some of them I tried. Didn't work out. But here I am. But if you have your mind right, you can keep going no matter what, no matter what's going on, no matter what's happening, no matter what's happening in the economy. Because if you're an entrepreneur, or even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, you still want to work on a job. You still need to have that knowledge to keep going no matter what. You need to have knowledge of that job. You need to know what you're doing. Like when I worked at this department store as a merchandiser, one of the things that we did early, I actually went to a seminar with my manager, and it was for a bunch of merchandisers in my company. And I learned a lot. But that was more on my mind. See, one of the things you want to do, you get that money, you just don't want to spend it. Yes, first of all, you need to spend it on your mind just to learn what you're supposed to do. Don't just jump into it. But then even while you're doing it, even while you're in that business, you want to see what is the latest thing. You want to find out what's going on. If there's any new technology, new styles, whatever. That's one thing people with money will do. They don't stay stuck wherever or doing whatever or think they know everything. The ones that do usually get stuck, and then when there's changes, they usually not that change. In fact, I've seen stories about plenty of businesses. They went out because they did not change with the times. And when you're talking about spending money on your mind, getting the books, or even watching videos. Not even so much as spending money, but maybe checking out videos, going to seminars, things of that nature. Getting your mind right. Because a book I always talk about by a gentleman, Myron Golden, Ebony Treasure Map. And it was for African Americans. A small book, but the book actually helped me a whole lot, because that book really got me thinking in a different way. And I mean, I really had a jump in money just by following the stuff he was talking about in there. Myron Golden. I'll put a link for it in the description box. I will put a link for it in the description box. Ebony Treasure Map. I highly advise you get it. Even if you're not African American, I highly advise you get it. Because that dude's making some money. That dude is making some money. In fact, I think he has a YouTube channel. I'll see if I put that link in the description box as well. But I'm going to tell you what. Get your mind right. Get your mind right. Even in this time with the economy, people with their minds right, they not worried about anything. In fact, even talking to someone who's successful. I remember during the Great Recession having a conversation with a gentleman who was making minimum six figures. I mean, he was doing some stuff, minimum six figures. And this is back when six figures meant a lot. And just the perspective he gave me. And it wasn't a seminar or a book, just talking with him. This was a successful man. But that was the information he gave me was more about my mindset. My mindset. And see, one of the things that anyone who really wants to be successful, anyone who wants to go any place, they need to work on their mind. Yeah, like I said, getting the books, watching the videos, going to the seminars, having just good conversations with somebody who is doing it. That's all about your mind. Don't be one of those people, like you see some of those people, they'll make that money, but then they'll spend it on their fancy car. I don't care what the car is. I don't care. Well, yeah, most cars. And there's a few cars that'll go up in value. But most cars will not. Or clothes. I don't care what type of clothes you get. They're not going to last. Some will last longer than others. Some will last for years. But that's not really doing you any good. And then you always have to fix up your home wherever you at. Wherever you at, stuff is going to break down. But you get your mind right. You get the money. You take care of that. You can take care of that. You need some work around your house? Fine. You got your mind right, you can have that money coming in. Because money, think about it, they call it a currency. It's energy. You want to be at that point where you can keep that energy flowing. And your mind got to be right for it. Now, if you're going to spend money, get those books. Get those books to read. Get those books to read. Go to those seminars. Go to things like that. Listen to someone like myself. I mean, you can do that for free. You just get here on YouTube. You can do that for free. Pay attention. Move forward. Talk to people. There's some of that stuff you can do for free. But for the things you can't do for free, talk, spend money. Go to the business section of a major bookstore. Go through it. That's something I do when I go to the bookstore. Not every single time, but I'd say every third time I go to a bookstore. And even when I'm checking out magazines, I go to the business magazines and stuff. I got a ton of them upstairs. I'm reading. I'm spending money on my mind. That's very important, okay? So anyway, I want y'all to really think about that. Because if your mind is right, you can keep money flowing. That's not even a big deal, all right? So anyway, that's all I have for today. Y'all know the deal. Let's go make that money.